This is Teddy. Teddy is a 5-year-old racing thoroughbred, and Teddy's symptoms include cracked heels and stomach ulcers and aggressive behavior and also some pain in the right shoulder. You ready to go, Teddy? Okay, here we go. Today is Sunday, March 31st, 2019. Today is Teddy's first healing session, and today we're working to heal the root causes of an aggressive attitude and pain in the right front shoulder, stomach ulcers, and cracked heels, and whatever those symptoms represent, in such a way as to align Teddy with his soul plan, align Teddy with his destiny so he can live the life that he came here to live. And Teddy, this is your first healing session, so I'm going to try to explain very clearly what's going on so it doesn't confuse you when it starts to happen. The first thing for you to know is that the presences who are speaking to you in this healing session today are your own guardian angels. And those are the presences who know you and love you better than anybody else in the whole world. Because you and I have only known each other for a little while now, but they've known you for a long, long time, and they're really working to get positive improvements down to where you are. There you go, good stretch. And so they're the ones worth talking to. They're the ones who can get the miracles to happen for you. Okay, Teddy, the second thing for you to know is that everybody has a destiny. I have a destiny, you have a destiny, everybody you've ever met has a reason why they're born. And what the guardian angels want to do is get everybody on track with their destiny, get everybody on track with their soul plans, get them all living the lives that they were born to live. And you're no exception. Okay? So that's the work we're doing here today, to heal the root causes of your problems and whatever they represent, so as to align you with your destiny, align you with your soul plan. Now, what I'm starting to do, and you should be starting to feel, is I'm softening my own energy body and I'm merging in with your energy body. You should be starting to feel a warm, tingling sensation moving through your physical body. If at any point you feel something that makes you feel uncomfortable or that you don't like, you let me know and we stop right away. Softening my own energy body and merging into Teddy's energy body. Softening my own energy body and merging into Teddy's energy body. Softening my own energy body and merging into Teddy's energy body. There we go, Teddy. Now, drawing the focus to the heart chakra, the energy point right at the center of the chest, merging into that heart chakra and starting to open up the doors at the front of the heart chakra. Really starting to open up the doors at the front of the heart chakra. And the great thing about you, Teddy, is that you've got such a big, strong energy body, you know? And a lot of cults are this way, but you are specifically have a very big, strong energy body. And so it's a good sign. It's easy to work with. All we have to do is clear out the debris, get it aligned to how it's supposed to be, and get you back on the right track. And I see no reason why you shouldn't be successful in your career and successful in your life. We just have to get you to where you need to be. Merging the energy bodies together more deeply and drawing the focus to that heart chakra, throwing open the doors at the front of the heart chakra. There we go. Really opening wide the doors at the front of the heart chakra. Opening wide the doors at the front of the heart chakra. There we go. And calling for those guardian angels to send a river of higher vibration energy all the way in through the front of that heart chakra, really starting to flush that heart chakra with higher vibration healing energies from the guardian angels way up there. We're working to align Teddy with his soul plan, align Teddy with the life that he was meant to live. Getting that higher vibration energy moving in through the front of the heart chakra. Some people feel this feeling as love. Some people call this feeling truth. It's really all the same, you know? That higher vibration healing energy. There we go. Feeling it filling the heart chakra, expanding the heart chakra. Wider, wider, wider. Really filling that heart chakra and starting to break loose the debris that's stuck inside the heart chakra. A lot of it feels like old debris left over from old lives, previous lives that came with you into this body. Let's really flush it clear. Let's really break those walls. And now throwing open the doors at the back of the heart chakra, flushing that energy in the front and out the back of the merged heart chakra. There you go. Really flushing that energy in the front and out the back and merging the energy bodies together more deeply. Now drawing the focus to the back of that heart chakra, really opening up at the back of the heart chakra and opening wide those doors at the back of the heart chakra. There we go. And what you should be starting to feel is when we start to open up the heart chakra for the first time in a long time, the first feelings that we feel, the first emotions that come bubbling out are almost always the reasons why we close that heart chakra in the first place. It's almost always something like pain, something like sadness, something like fear. There we go. And the only way to really release them is to feel them and let them out the front of that heart chakra. Here we go. Exhaling out the front of the heart chakra, merging the energy bodies together more deeply and flushing that higher vibration energy in the back of the heart chakra, filling that heart chakra, and now exhaling again out the front, creating a river of higher vibration healing energy moving in the back and out the front of the merged heart chakra, in the back and out the front of the heart chakra. There we go, in the back and out the front of the heart chakra, flushing it all the way through us and around us, through us and through our lives. There we go, flushing that heart chakra all the way in the back and out the front. Now drawing the focus down to the feet and through the feet, starting to pulse the upward rising earth energy up through the feet, especially up through those cracked hooves, especially up through the weaknesses in the feet of the physical body. Let's really pulse that upward rising earth energy up through those feet, almost until we can start to feel like the ground is shaking underneath our feet. You know, when we really start to open up to that upward rising earth energy, it becomes bigger than the physical body itself. There we go, getting that upward rising earth energy moving up through the feet, moving up through the legs, all the way up the back of the vertical pillar of the energy body, and straight out the top of the energy body. There we go, Teddy, merging the energy bodies together more deeply, and pulsing that upward flow of upward rising earth energy all the way up through the vertical pillar of the energy body. And like the guardian angels were saying at the very start of the session, this energy body is strong fundamentally. It's not a weak energy body. It's not a wispy energy body. It's not an energy body that has problems staying upright. There we go. There we go. Now drawing the focus to the intersection of the heart chakra and the vertical pillar of the energy body, letting a critical mass of truth start to build at that intersection point until it pops, creating a bubble around all of us and expanding that bubble all the way around the entire barn, all the way around the entire training facility. There you go, around everywhere that Teddy lives and works, including all of it, inside the bubble, and claiming the interior of the bubble as sacred, safe, private, healing, learning, growing space. It's clear only presences we invite in are welcome to join us. All others either move around the outside of the sacred space, or if they break in, they're breaking divine law, and bigger eyes than ours are watching them. Now reaching up through the top of the vertical pillar of the energy body, calling up to Teddy's own higher soul, that higher aspect of Teddy's own soul. There we go, feeling that higher soul coming closer, asking the higher soul for permission to do this work with your energy body today, offering the opportunity to place any limitations on the work and know they will be honored. We won't open any doors you don't want us to open. We won't go anywhere you don't want us to go. There we go, feeling big access from the higher soul, merging the energy bodies together more deeply, moving through that access, calling all the way up through that big hole in the sky to those guardian angels who really want Teddy to live his soul plan, live his destiny, live the life that he was born to live. and asking for their guidance, their support, their protection during the process today, asking for their help to heal the root causes of Teddy's problems in such a way as to align him with his soul plan so he can live the life that he came here to live. Handing our intuitive channels all the way up to those presences, those good guys upstairs. There we go, and restating the intention to heal the root causes of Teddy's right shoulder pain, the cracked feet, the ulcers in the stomach, and also his aggressive attitude and whatever those symptoms represent in such a way as to align him with his soul plan. There we go, feeling that higher dimension access opening up even more, and now spreading all the issues out on the table while merging the energy bodies together more deeply, pulsing the upward rising earth energy all the way up through those cracked feet and all the way up out the top of the head. The first thing the guardian angels are talking about is the cracked feet. And they're talking about how often symptoms like this, where we have actual literal cracks that appear in the physical body or weak parts of the physical body, have to do with the perimeter of our energy body. And it's fascinating because they've been talking about how strong your energy body is, how stable it is, and it's possible, and I'm just going to have to start to babble it out, and I might have to back up and correct myself, right, pal? It's possible that your energy body is mostly that way, but that there are parts of your energy body, like underneath your feet, that you haven't been focusing on. And this is very common. Lots of people, and there are spiritual traditions that are this way too, so don't feel like you're alone in this misconception. A lot of people think the energy body stops at the feet and doesn't go below the feet. And so people will tend their energy body. Actually, someone upstairs is saying in many chakra systems, the lowest chakra ends at the hips, completely ignoring the fact that our physical bodies have legs. I like your guardian angels. They're really funny. And so they're going on about how often in spiritual traditions and in energy working traditions, people will ignore the fact that we have legs, and almost everyone ignores the fact that the energy body continues under the feet and into the ground underneath us. Oh, fascinating. So it's possible what we have here is a top-heavy energy body where probably the soul aspect of you, or the guardian angels who are most closely affiliated with the soul aspects of you, have done a lot of work on keeping strong the up top of your energy body, while forgetting that underneath the feet there's a whole world of the energy body. And this is important. This is what causes horses to slip and fall during races. This is what causes foot problems. Your guardian angels are really on a roll now, and they're saying this can cause so many problems in your life. And probably these cracked feet we've had for a long, long time, to try and get the message through to you that you've got to draw the focus to the lower part of your energy body, or your life isn't going to go as well as it's supposed to go. And now they're starting to talk about why you took the focus off the lower part of your energy body. And this feels like it's an issue of multiple lifetimes. It doesn't feel like it's a new problem. Fascinating. Okay, and you know what this feels like? It feels like when our guardian angels give us an instruction, and we all do this. Our guardian angels give us an instruction, and either we want to do it or we don't want to do it. And sometimes when we do the thing the guardian angels say, we crash completely to the other side of what it's supposed to be. Like there's this story, they're going on kind of a tangent, but they do promise they're going to get to the point about this foot issue. There's this story of a spiritual teacher and his student. And the student comes to the teacher very upset one day, and he says, "You keep telling me all these different things. You tell me things that I'm supposed to do, and then you tell me things that contradict those things, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and I'm mad at you." And the teacher says, "Think of it like this. If you're walking down a road, and I see that you are about to fall off the right side of the road, and I tell you, turn left, go left, go left. And then you turn left, and now you're about to fall off the left side of the road, and I say, go right, and you veer hard to the right. Oh, this is not only about your feet, this is also about your emotional issues. So now you're crashing back and forth from the left to the right side of the road, and I'm just trying to get you to go straight down the road." Oh, this is great. So in the very immediate sense, having to do with the cracked feet, what the guardian angels are saying is a long time ago, at least 2-3 lifetimes ago. It feels like it could be 100 years ago even. You were too focused down. You were looking down all the time, not looking up. You weren't listening to the angels. You didn't have high aspirations. You didn't have high goals. You weren't trying to fly in your life. You know, you can think of that as a metaphorical thing. You can think of it as a very literal thing. However you want to think about it, you weren't looking up. You didn't have the focus upward that you need to be successful. And so the guardian angel said, stop looking down, look up, try to fly, man. And then you did, to your credit. You did, but the problem is then all the focus went upward and you completely lost the focus on the lower part of your energy body, and then the energy body started to deteriorate down there. Meanwhile, the upper part of your energy body is getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and the lower part is starting to atrophy. So what this is a signal of now you've crashed to the other side of the road. And now let's see if we can get back to the middle of the road to balance out this energy body, balance it top and bottom. So not only is your focus upward, not only are you able to fly, but you also have your roots down into the ground. And in the very real sense of your career, this kind of energy configuration can keep you from falling over in a race. It can keep you from having leg injuries, and it can certainly start to heal the issues in your feet. Okay, that went a little fast. Are you with me, ma'am? Awesome. Okay, you're kind of zonked out. Okay, good. Now merging the energy bodies together more deeply, and let's start to draw that energy. And now we're not weakening the top part of your energy body. All we're going to do is start to balance it out. There we go. So the excess energy, the energy that we have in the top part of the energy body that isn't best served by being there, can start to move down through the energy body to the feet and through the feet. Meanwhile, balancing it with upward rising earth energy from below, opening up the base of the pillar so the upward rising earth energy can come up through the feet as well. There we go, to start to balance the upward flow and the downward flow in those parts of the energy body of the legs, of the feet, and especially below the feet. Really starting to strengthen that energy body underneath the feet. You should be starting to feel tingling sensations moving through your feet and legs. Like always, if you feel something you don't like, you give me a real good signal and we'll stop right away. Here we go. Especially drawing the focus to the cracked parts of the hooves and the weakness. It feels almost more like weakness in the feet. There we go. And now we can start to strengthen them with the upward and downward flow of energy, really balancing it out. There we go. There we go. It's like cross-training the energy body, you know? If you only work out in one way, that one part of your body is going to get really strong, but the rest of your body is going to get weak, and that's just the way that training works. There we go. And so the top part of your energy body has a whole lot of energy, and the bottom of your energy body has become weaker. Here we go. Now, let's draw the focus to the perimeter of the energy body around those feet, and really blast that upward rising earth energy up through the feet. There we go. There we go. And the beautiful thing about your energy body, like they keep saying, is it's a big, strong energy body. You have the potential to move so much energy. And so you have the potential to heal very quickly and very powerfully with not all that much trouble at all. It's great. There we go. Oh, and they're talking about the recordings. Teddy, I don't know if you and I have talked a lot about the recording, but just so you understand what's going on. Every time you hear this recording, every time you hear the words, the energy of the healing is imprinted into the recording. The angels can come back every time, and more importantly, your own soul can come back every time, and the healing can get deeper and deeper every time you hear this recording, okay? Good. So every time you listen to this recording, really work with the energy so you can heal every single time. Okay? And you can understand even more fully what's happening. And every time you hear it, you're going to hear something differently than you heard it before. You're going to understand something better than you understood it before. Something's going to start to feel better than it did before. Okay? Even when I'm not here. Your angels will be here. There we go. Now merging the energy bodies together more deeply, really drawing the focus around the base of the energy body, pulsing the upward flow through the feet. There we go. Straightening the energy body all the way up, pulsing it up from underneath the feet and out the top of the head. There we go. Now, let's draw the focus to the next thing on the list, because it feels like they've really hit the feet and now there's something else to be done. What's the next thing to be done? All right, they're talking about the aggressive attitude, and I'm going to have to start by babbling it out, and I might have to back up and correct myself. And they're tying this issue of the stomach ulcers, the tummy ulcers that you've had for a good long time. They say since your training intensified to the point where you actually started to have to try to work hard, you actually started to have to put some oomph into it. I think what they're saying is you've got a lot of natural talent, and so for a long time you didn't really have to exert yourself all that much, and then when more started to be asked of you, you started to stress out about it. You didn't know how to handle it very well because everything had come to you more easily than it does to others. And now they're talking about your trainer Linda, who you've known your whole life and you've lived together for a long time. And they're talking about that metaphor they made earlier in the session about the spiritual teacher and his student, right? And the teacher's trying to get the student to go straight, trying to get the student to not fall off the side of the road, and the student is crashing from side to side to side to side. Beautiful. Okay, and I can feel the guardian angels are drawing lines between all these points, the ulcers, the teacher and the student, your relationship with your trainer, and this behavioral problem you have where you get really bullying even to the point of aggression, particularly about having the halter put on you. And it could literally be this, and I might have to back up and correct myself. The guardian angels are talking about what the point is of a halter or a bridle or any other headpiece that you wear in your normal day-to-day career life or in your training life. It doesn't have to be necessarily in like the active career part. The point of a halter, the point of a bridle, is for you to be able to understand what it is you need to do, where you need to go, what actions you need to take, how best to respond to the situation. It's actually a thing that's meant to help you. It's not meant to hold you back. It's not meant to hurt you. It's not meant to keep you feeling trapped. The whole point of a halter and the whole point of a bridle is for you to know the best thing to do. When you don't have a bridle, when it's just you and say you're out in a field by yourself, all you're really able to get is your own understanding of the situation, and if you're listening up the way you're supposed to, the guardian angel's understanding of the situation. Now, most of us aren't listening up very well, so it's really just about what's taking in from us. So it's a limited perspective, you understand? When we have a halter, when we have a bridle, it's not just our perspective. We're able to get feedback right away, immediate feedback from our rider, from our trainer, whoever it is who's responsible for that headpiece. So think about it like this. A bridle or a halter or any other headpiece that's designed like that is actually meant as a communication tool to help you. It's a good thing to have a bridle on. It's a good thing to have a halter on, because that way it's not just your perspective and it's not just what you're able to hear from upstairs. It's the human, it's the rider, it's the trainer. So they can also share their perspective with you. And sometimes they're wrong. I'm not telling you that every time a human does something with a bridle, they're right. Sometimes they're wrong. But at least then you have two perspectives that you can choose from. You have your own awareness, and you have the awareness of the human who's moving that bridle or who's moving that halter, who's moving whatever that headpiece is, to try and explain to you what they believe is the best thing to do. Two heads are better than one, right? Two minds are better than one. Two perspectives are better than one. Right? Okay, so think about the halter that way. And now let's really talk about what's going on with you and Linda. Right? Okay. Remember that teacher who's trying to get that student to run straight. And one thing I know about your relationship with your trainer is that you're a 4th generation horse who's been working with her. She has a lot of stake in you. She has a lot of stake in your family. She said multiple times before that she thinks you're the last horse she's going to race. And I'm not saying that to stress you out, and they're not saying it to stress you out. The important point is she cares about you a whole lot. Do you think she would want you to fall off the side of the road, or do you think she would want you to go straight down the road? Oh, and here's what the guardian angels are saying. Sometimes there's a misconception on the part of the student where we think that if we crash from side to side, it's a way of putting our own spin on it, letting the teacher know that they don't own us, they're not in charge of us. Here's something you may never have thought about. Linda already knows that. You weigh a lot more than Linda. You're a lot bigger than Linda. She knows that when you go somewhere, for the most part, it's because you're choosing to go there. And so what's actually more impressive is if you choose to go straight down the road rather than crashing left and right. It's not actually very cool to crash right and left and left and right and not go straight and not do what you're supposed to do. That's actually kind of a loser thing to do. What's very cool is to go straight. That makes the kind of student that a teacher is proud to have. That makes the kind of horse that a trainer is proud to work with. That makes the kind of legacy that I think that you would like to leave for your family after having worked with Linda for so long, right? There we go. So let's really get back to this attitude, okay? Because we not only have the confusion about the point of the halter and bridle, which I understand you've been thinking about it wrong, and we all think about things wrong, so no one upstairs is being judgmental. But think about it as a communication tool. It's a lifeline, so that your rider or Linda can tell you what it is they think is the best move for you right then, okay? And then you can take it and you can assess it for yourself. Is this the right thing to do? Is this a helpful move? Is that the right direction? I think you should take it as your working theory that it is. But discern for yourself, and then you can take action for yourself. Okay, so that's one confusion, is what the point is of the halter. Why do we do the halter? Why do we wear it? Why do we work with it? That's why. And the second thing is maybe there's been confusion about the attitude. Linda's not trying to control you. I don't think she ever actually has been. If you feel the energy of the relationship, I don't feel control. It feels like she's only ever been trying to help you. She's only ever been trying to get you to be successful. And just from a personal level, I work with a lot of horses. I see a lot of horses and their trainers. I know very few who take the kind of care and the kind of actual personal connection to a horse that Linda does. Okay? There you go. So you can use that to inspire you to let go of that attitude, let go of the bullying, let go of the aggression. Because it doesn't really feel like there's past life trauma. It doesn't really feel like there's soul confusion. It just feels like it's a bad attitude that comes from not having been explained a couple of really key points about what Linda's intentions are and about the whole point of the halter and headgear. And now that they've been cleared up, there really isn't much of an excuse for you to be a bully anymore. Now, if you start acting like a bully again, it's going to look like you're a jerk. And I don't think you're really a jerk, and I don't think Linda thinks you're really a jerk. You know what I mean? Okay, now merging the energy bodies together more deeply. Let's really pulse that upward flow all the way up the back, especially up through those cracked feet, and then straight up out the top of the head. There we go. Really working to get that lower part of the pillar, get that base of the pillar as strong as it needs to be. Awesome, good release. As strong as it needs to be. There we go. Because what I really don't want to have happen is for you to have feet and leg injuries later in life that come as a result of this weaker base of the energy body. There we go. Now, asking the guardian angels, what do we do now? Oh, it's the ulcers. They already said the next thing is the ulcers, these tummy ulcers. And this is actually fascinating, and it could be past life trauma. I'm going to start to work with the energy of the ulcers, and we'll see what's going on there. There we go. And start to really get underneath those ulcers and start to work them up and out. Sad feeling, big sad feeling in the stomach, big sad feeling. Let's start to work it up and asking the guardian angels to let us know whatever it is we need to know about this so that we can learn whatever lesson we're supposed to learn and heal it completely so it can go away and never come back. Okay, I'm going to have to just start by babbling it out, and I might have to back up and correct myself. The ulcer problems feel like they're linked to a life that happened before, and I could be wrong, but it looks like it was a very long time ago. It looks almost like Egyptian culture, and it could be Roman culture, but when I say Roman, it feels wrong. It feels more like Egyptian. And they're desert races, some kinds of desert races that you take part in, and they might be chariot races, and they might be rider races, or maybe you do both. And you're a horse who's got a really fancy pedigree, and you're owned by someone who's really kind of big and important. And I don't know if it's someone you know from this life, but it's definitely a soul that you've seen a number of times. Okay, asking the guardian angels to show us whatever it is. What's the link to the ulcers so that we can heal it? And I can feel there's a big link. Okay, babble it. Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm going to have to babble it out, and I might have to back up and correct myself. When it feels like as there was some big race that you were going to be in, and the night before the race you're in a tent. It looks kind of like a Bedouin tent, so I assume it's a desert race in that life. And there's someone who really wants to hurt your owner, who really wants to get back at your owner for some perceived slight or some perceived bad thing that the owner had done. And so this person sneaks into your tent and puts something, it looks like poison. It doesn't feel like other debris. It feels like poison into your food. Interesting. This might have to do with why you've been dunking your food recently, right? Okay, let's really start to work through it. And it's going to get scary for a little bit, but I'm here with you, and your angels are here with you. And the only way to get to the other side is to go through it, okay? Here we go, merging the energy bodies together. Okay, so some guy sneaks into your tent and puts poison in your food, and it feels like you can tell it's bad, and so you don't eat it. Oh, fascinating. So you don't eat it, and you stay away from it, and you do start to get hungry, and then your human comes in, and it could be a groom. It doesn't feel like it's the big fancy guy who owns you, but the groom comes in and doesn't understand why you're not eating, and gets kind of frustrated with you, gets kind of angry at you, and kind of jerks you around a little bit, and is really trying to get you to eat, and you don't want to eat because you can tell it's poison in there. There's this big fight between you and the groom because the groom wants you to eat the poisoned food, not knowing it's poisoned. You don't want to eat the food because you know it's poisoned, but you're also hungry, and you also don't like this groom beating you up. And so asking the guardian angels, what happens? Does he eat the food? Does he not eat the food? What happens? Oh, you know what could have happened is that you didn't eat the food. You didn't eat the poison food, but then you were really, really hungry, and you went on the race hungry, and it did not go well. It feels like you maybe collapsed in the desert. Good energy shift. You maybe collapsed in the desert and died, and it went really badly, and there's always been this confusion, and this probably has to do with your attitude issues also, this confusion about, well, what was the right thing to do? You know, I didn't eat the poison food because I didn't want to get poisoned, but then I was really hungry, and I don't know how I could have communicated that better. And meanwhile, there's all this big, sad trauma left over in the stomach from the whole event. So let's get the trauma out. At the very least, let's get the trauma out. Oh, fascinating. So probably there's still also energetic debris left in the energy body from whoever it was who wanted to really hurt your owner in that life, had some kind of vendetta against your owner. Probably sent energetic spears into the energy body as a way of trying to hurt you, and you may still have those stuck in your energy body. So basically, you've got a lot of debris in your stomach, and it's making your life a mess. And it's so old that it doesn't feel like there's any memory really in the soul, any conscious memory of the event happening. All you know is you felt these feelings for a long time. Okay, so asking the guardian angels, what was the lesson we were supposed to learn from that experience? What was the mistake we made? What's the lesson we're supposed to learn so we can heal it all the way? There we go. What's the lesson? Because it doesn't feel like it was a mistake to not eat the food, and it also feels like you tried to communicate to that groom that this is poisoned and I shouldn't eat it. And he wasn't listening. He was having a bad day. You know, people do. What were we supposed to do? What was the difference we were supposed to make? Were we supposed to refuse to go on the race? Oh, maybe we were just supposed to say, I'm not going to go on this race. I'm not going to run this race. And then obviously the groom would have been upset and the owner would have been upset. But eventually they probably would have figured out that that food was poison. That's why you didn't eat it. But you went on the race anyway, and maybe we shouldn't have done that. What was the mistake? What's the error? And we're asking your guardian angels, because if you knew, you would have solved it by now. And if I knew, I would have solved it by now. So they're the ones to ask about it. Meanwhile, while we're doing this inquiry, we're just pumping up all that debris, all that trauma out of the stomach, all that sadness. You know what this feeling is. It feels like fear of letting people down. It feels like fear of being a failure when somebody is counting on us. And this ties back to why these ulcers started appearing when the training started amping up. And why sometimes you feel like it would be so much better to just ignore what Linda is saying, to ignore the training, to just fail spectacularly early on so you don't have to feel defeat later down the road. Because there's this huge fear of failure and this huge fear of letting us down, letting everybody down who believes in you. And that was the mistake we made in that life back in Egypt. We shouldn't have run that race. And by running that race that we shouldn't have run, we ended up making a much bigger mistake that cost us so much more in that life. It would have been less hurtful in the long run to just not have run that race, but we were so messed up by being so afraid of letting people down that we made the wrong choice. We made a mistake. It all comes back to this fear of letting people down, this fear of failure. There we go. And now we can move a bunch of this trauma up out of the stomach, up out of that part of the energy body. Wow. Okay. Now here's a lot of trauma from a lot of mistakes we've made in a lot of lives because we were so afraid of letting people down that we closed our crown chakra, we stopped listening to the angels, and then made a stream of terrible mistakes. Because it feels like the guardian angels were saying to you in that life, Teddy, don't run that race. You haven't eaten. Don't eat that poisoned food. And don't run in that race. That's crazy. But your crown was closed because you were scared and you weren't listening, and so you made a mistake. Okay, here we go. And it feels like more and more in this life, it's really started to freak you out. The feeling of fear of failure, fear of being the big letdown. I'm going to tell you a secret. The secret is, it's not so much about whether you win or lose. What matters is that you try your very hardest and that you do whatever it is you're supposed to do in this life. You were born with a destiny, right? All that matters is that you really throw yourself into that destiny. And here's the thing. Because horse people are energy sensitive, and you come from a family that Linda really loves, and Linda is no fool. Because of those things, the races you're supposed to lose and you lose, she'll know. She'll feel it. She won't be mad at you. All that matters is that you win what you're supposed to win. So now we're still working up that trauma out of the stomach from that life in the Egyptian race. And what the guardian angels are talking about is the biggest mistake that we made in that Egyptian race life. And in a lot of these lives where we've had the pattern of the fear of failure, the biggest mistake we've made in those lives is in that moment when we're most panicked, when we're most scared that we're going to let down that person that matters most to us. We scrunch our crown chakras closed, we clench off the top of the crown chakra, and then we make the biggest mistake of all. And we don't listen to the guardian angels who are trying to tell us what to do, who are trying to help us out. And it's just like they were talking about earlier in this session, about how the halter and the bridle, the purpose of those things is to be able to help you know which way to go. The relationship with the good guys upstairs is exactly like a halter and a bridle here in your normal life. The whole point is to help you know which way to go. And so this is what you can do in your life when you feel that feeling of being afraid of letting people down. When you feel that feeling of being afraid that Linda's not going to be proud of you and that you're not going to show up the way you're supposed to show up, right? When you feel that feeling, first take a deep breath, a big deep breath, and then look up as if you had eyes on the top of your head and call up to your own guardian angels, those good guys upstairs who really want you to live your destiny, and you say, okay, I really don't want to let Linda down. Please tell me what to do. Please tell me what to do and I can do it. And then they'll tell you what to do. There, now we can get all this trauma out of the stomach. That was the mistake we made all those times. We made all those mistakes of not listening. That was just the mistake we made. We just freaked out. We panicked and we didn't listen to our guardian angels because we were so afraid of making a mistake. We were so afraid of letting people down who really mattered to us. So now let's correct the error of not listening to our own guardian angels when we need them most, which is a crazy mistake. And when we say it out loud, we can hear it, right? And correct the error. Really correct it. Really correct it. There we go. Really correct it. There we go. Really correct it. And now we can get all that trauma out of the stomach and work it up. And we can correct that error so it's as if those mistakes never happened. So it's as if in all those moments when we were starting to panic, we instead got a grip and listened up to our guardian angels and did what they told us to do, and then a lot of bad things could have been avoided. There we go. And now let's burn that trauma all the way out of the stomach, correcting the errors so we don't need the mnemonic device of the trauma anymore, and now burning that trauma all the way out of the stomach, really pulsing it out of the stomach, not just for us, but for everybody that Teddy represents, for us and for everyone Teddy represents. There we go, pulsing it all the way out, burning that trauma, and using the burning of the trauma to open up the very top of the energy body to the guardian angels so we can hear them even more clearly, so we can hear them even better. There we go, so we can hear them even better. There we go. Now continuing to pulse that trauma out of the energy body, out of the stomach. It feels like we can squeeze it out of the walls, almost like how ulcers appear in the walls of the stomach. There we go. We can squeeze the trauma out of the tissues of the stomach. Squeeze the trauma out of the energy body and right away burn it. And now we can reach down for the base of the trauma and work it up and burn it. There we go. Okay. You're out. Okay, good. All right, asking the guardian angels, what do we do now? What's left to be done to heal the root causes of Teddy's bullying attitude, the behavioral problems, and also Teddy's ulcers, the pain in the stomach, and also the cracked heels and bad feet. There's one more thing. What about the shoulder pain? What about that pain in the shoulder? And now it's coming full circle back to that life where somebody, the life in Egypt, sorry, I should clarify, the life in Egypt where you were owned by some guy who was someone who had a good reputation and was a good guy. And for some reason, there was someone in his past who thought that your owner was the cause of all his problems and wanted bad things to happen to your owner. And so he threw what's called an energetic spear. And all that is it's just an energetic structure, and almost no one is consciously aware of throwing them. But it comes up when we feel angry at someone and we want to hurt them and think very much about it. Then often we will form an energetic spear, and it will go into that person's energy body and will cause some physical pain. And so it's very possible that there is somebody out there who wanted bad things to happen to your owner or trainer, and it doesn't even have to be from this life. You realize it doesn't have to be Linda or someone that we know in this life. It could be from past lives. It could be from a different dimension. You understand? It's possible there are multiple lines of reality in between your arm and whoever threw that spear at you. But it does feel like a really big energetic spear whacked you on the right side of your body. It feels unexpected, out of nowhere, and it happened in the morning. It might literally have happened on the day when your arm started spasming. That would make the most sense. And it's possible it literally came through time. And I understand that's a little bit hard to grasp, but it is possible for someone to, even as far back as the Egyptian life, wanted bad things to happen to you badly enough that they could have thrown an energetic spear through time until it hits your energy body in this life. Because it doesn't feel like it's coming from this time zone. It feels like it's time-stamped from a long time ago, which is fascinating. So let's draw that energetic spear in. There we go. Because pulling it out, it's only going to hurt. But if we draw it in, we can transmute it to create clean, fresh energy. And then use that energy to heal that right side of the energy body where it came in. There we go. Drawing in the spear. All right, and now just while we're here, let's ask, why is that person so angry at Teddy or at whoever he thinks that Teddy's going to help him get to? Because maybe we did something bad in the past and we just have to correct it. We just have to make it right. And then this presence, whoever he is, will stop throwing spears at you and your life can get a whole lot easier. Asking the guardian angels, is that the direction we're supposed to head in by clearing that up with that person? Okay, so what it feels like is there was some soul contract in some past life way long before that Egyptian life even, and you didn't hold up your end of the bargain. And this other presence, whoever he is, has for a long time since then felt like you're the cause of all his problems. And now it feels more personal. It feels less like it did in the Egyptian life where some guy wanted to hurt your owner. It feels more like it's a personal thing, like you personally, the soul that in this life we call Teddy, didn't hold up your end of the bargain in some past life, and now it's a bit late, you know, like those lives are over. We can't go back in time and pay someone for what we took in a life 300 years ago, but we can intend to heal the error, to give back energetically whatever it is we took, to correct the error energetically, to heal that soul contract breach energetically, so at least there's not some soul, some presence wandering around life after life after life, angry at you, angry at your trainers, angry at your owners. You don't need that. And so let's correct all of our errors, the collective of Teddy, all of our errors, all the mistakes that we made that contributed to this presence being so angry at us that he's literally throwing energy spears at us life after life and through time itself to try and hurt us. Let's just correct that mistake. Let's really correct that error, because it doesn't feel like you even have conscious awareness of it anymore. So let's correct the error. I'm so sorry, I messed up. I didn't do what I said I was going to do. Just correct the error energetically, so it will be as if that breach of contract never happened, and then that presence doesn't have to be mad at you ever again. I hope that makes sense, right? Because probably for lifetime after lifetime, you've been stuck with spears, you've been tripped up, you've been poisoned in a Bedouin tent in the desert, all because hundreds of years ago, you stiffed this guy on a check, you know? You didn't follow through with a deal that you made. Some little thing a long, long time ago has for all this time caused all these problems when we could really just clear it up right now. There we go. And calling to the guardian angels, whoever that presence is who's been following Teddy around, and just send the apology up to those guardian angels, really sending up the apology. Because it doesn't feel like you have anything against apologizing. It was just so long ago we don't even remember what the mistake was. And maybe we say to that presence, I hope you can forgive me for whatever that was. I really do. And correct the error energetically. And now pull in all those energetic spears that presence is stuck in your energy body for all this time. Tune them, create clean, fresh energy with them, and now bring them out the base of the energy body to strengthen that base of the energy body where the session began. Woohoo! There we go. Much better, much better, much better. Okay. Now drawing the upward rising earth energy all the way up the back, all the way up through the feet, all the way up through the legs, straight up out the top of the head. Okay, now let's try and summarize what's happened in this healing session so far. When we were working with the weak, cracked feet, what came up is how the base of the energy body needs to be strengthened. About how a long time ago you got the messages from the angels that you need to draw your focus upward, focus up more. And by doing that, you solved the problem they wanted you to solve, but also you took away the focus from the base of the energy body. And so now to bring the focus back to drawing the upward rising earth energy up through the base of your energy body so that your feet can heal. Second, the issue of the bad attitude, the pushiness, the bullying, the aggression. And first, there seemed to be some confusion about the purpose of a halter or a bridle as a communication method, a way for teamwork to be easily expressed between human and horse, which is great, and I think we can all agree that's great. And second, there seemed to be confusion about your trainer's intention. Your trainer wants to help you, wants you to be successful, okay? So it would be really worth it to listen to what she has to say. It would be really worth it to respect her teachings. Because she wants you to run straight down the middle of the road. She wants you to do well, and she always has. And if the angels are saying it, I think we can take it as our working theory that it's true, okay? Okay, and then we came to the issue of the ulcers, which was also kind of tied in with that issue of struggling with authority, problems with how we relate to our teachers. And we saw that past life in a desert race in what feels like Egypt and what feels like a couple hundred years ago. Could be like 1,000 years ago. Honestly, it could be before the time of Christ. It's very hard to tell. It was a long time ago. When you made a mistake by not listening to the angels, and so you died, and it was painful and unpleasant, but the mistake was not listening to the angels. And then it's come up through these ulcers in the stomach to remind you, A, to listen to your angels when things get scary, and B, they keep saying there's a B. I don't know what the B is. Maybe the B is honestly just to not spend so much time worrying about letting people down that you then let them down by some other action. That could be what the B is. And then the last thing was this pain in the shoulder that came up very suddenly recently, right? And it came up suddenly in the way that it often does with energy spears, when the energy spear hit you like an arrow, and it feels like it flew through time from that same presence who was in that life in Egypt, who poisoned your food before the race. That guy's still angry about some breach of contract that you made in a life hundreds of years before the Egyptian life. He's still angry enough to be throwing arrows at you, throwing energetic spears at you hundreds of years later, thousands of years later. So let's just correct that error and apologize for that mistake. Pull in all the spears, turn them into clean, fresh energy, use it to strengthen that base of the energy body where the session began. Whew. And there, at least, we've gotten one layer of healing off of all of these problems in a way that ties together really nicely. In a way that shows the angels are here for you, right? Shows they care about you, right? They wouldn't just show up and help you for no good reason, okay? You have what it takes to live your soul plan. You have what it takes to live the life that you were born to live. All you have to do is listen up to the angels and do it, and you'll be fine. Okay, asking the guardian angels if there's anything more for us to do today, or if we start to wrap up this healing session. Maybe we wrap, and if something else comes up, we'll deal with it as it comes. Starting the closing process by correcting all the errors we made in this healing session, really correcting them right now. Correcting the mistakes, correcting the errors, so we don't leave any mistakes on the table, so we're not leaving errors uncorrected, we're not leaving things that we haven't dealt with. Good stretch. Correcting them right now, correcting them right now, correcting them right now, and now including the omissions. Everything that was left out of the healing session, including it right now, so there's nothing left unsaid. Everything that was supposed to be said was said. Everything that was supposed to be done was done, and the session happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. There we go. Feeling the vibration of the session clicking back into place. Taking all the work that was done poorly and raising the vibrations of that work with our own efforts all the way up to well done, so we're not leaving anything poorly done on the table. There we go. Now raising the vibration of all that well done work as close to divine perfection as we're able to get it with our own efforts right now. And really asking those guardian angels who are working to deliver positive improvements all the way down to I Still Believe, who goes by Teddy, so that he can live his soul plan, asking them to make the work divinely perfect, really get him on track with his soul plan, the life that he was born to live, because it was a good life. It's a life that I think, if you really do it right, you'll look back and you'll be very proud of. Asking those guardian angels to take it up to divine perfection. And now wrapping the work, sealing up all the work that's been done today, really sealing it all up. Sighting up through that hole we punched in the sky, all the way up to the guardian angels, and their supervisors way up there. And let's see if we can get to the third tier of supervisors. And now sending that work all the way up to them. And there it goes. Okay, Teddy. Drawing the focus back to the sacred space we created at the start of the session. I'm starting to step out of the sacred space. And before I fully step out, let's draw that upward flow really powerfully through the feet, the legs, up the back of the energy body, out the top of the head to balance that energy body and strengthen it all the way up and down. And asking those guardian angels to stay with Teddy. Stay with him, help him out for as long as is appropriate. And now, stepping out of the sacred space, taking my energy with me, leaving all of your energy there with you, and sealing the sacred space all the way up behind me. Sealing it up so there's no holes, no tears, no openings in the sacred space. There we go. So it's all the way around you, through you, around you, above you. So there's no way you can fall out of it. There's no way you can stumble out of it. So it's around you. And asking the guardian angels to keep the sacred space around Teddy for as long as is appropriate. And now thanking the guardian angels for showing up, for doing the work, and for the healing. Okay, Teddy. Good for you.